Hello students, welcome to the class. So in the last video, we have learned about acquisitions. So acquisition is a strategy where a company acquires another company through various methods. So we have seen the types of acquisitions here and also the steps involved for merging and acquisition of companies. So there are 8 steps. So we are now seeing the reasons for mergers and acquisitions. So synergy is one of the top reasons that is being mentioned as a reason for merging and acquisition. So synergy is a condition wherein the total value of the merged company is more than the individual value of the merging two companies. So I have given an example. For example, if there are two companies A and B who is merging together, the resulting company C, the C's value will be more than the individual values of A and B. So this is called synergy. This happens because of the operational savings that happens and the advantages that is being taken, and there are two types of synergy: operational and financial synergy. So operational synergy means cost savings that occur because of the uh, merger, and a financial synergy means the financial advantages that the merging companies acquire because of the merger. So it could be lowering the taxes or the increasing in the debt capacity, which will increases the leverage of a company, or better use of resources. If one company lacks resources and another company has resources, then it will result in a synergy called a financial synergy. So next reason is acquiring new technology. So this is the second main and important reason for merging and acquisition. So technology could not be very well established between each and every companies in the world. So a very few companies could have the resources or the research and development teams to develop new technologies which will be accessible only to that company and the partners of those companies. So in that scenario, a new company or another company which is in the same field or same market could come to know that this usage of new technology, and if they are interested in acquiring technology, they can make use of it by acquiring the company that owns that technology. So we have an example: merger between BlackBerry and a Treo made it possible for a phone to have both cellular and email capabilities. So BlackBerry is one of the top BlackBerry used to be one of the top manufacturers of mobile phone devices, and as far as smartphones are concerned, BlackBerry is one of the first companies that has released email capability in its phones. So that was possible because of its merger with Trio, that is also an information systems company, and that is supposedly having this email capabilities, which made it possible for the merger to release such high capacity phones. This is called acquiring new technology, and it not only means that the new technology that has been acquired by the purchasing company has to reflect it on its product directly. It could also mean finding easier ways to manufacture a product, or reducing the cost to manufacture a product, so on and so forth. If the target company owns some of the patents or trademarks, the acquiring company will acquire the rights for those trademarks by acquiring the target company. So that's also acquiring new technology. And improved profitability. So we have statistics that says that 34% of the companies that indulge in merger do so because they want to increase the profitability for the company. So we have seen in the Tata Group merger with an European steel manufacturer, the European steel manufacturers does not have enough resources, but they have a better standard and better quality and a better consumer who are ready to pay more for their steels. But Tata Steel is considerably cheaper uh, seller, cheaper producer for steel products, but it has unlimited amount of resources in India and all around the Indian subcontinent. So combination of these two companies resulted in unlimited resources for the European manufacturer, which creates quality products and also helped Tata to expand its markets to Europe and uh, resulting as a result to the whole of Asia. So this resulted in improved profitability for both companies. Acquiring a competency. So some companies possesses capacities that arise out of its years of expertise and hard work, and other companies might want to take advantage of this and indulge in merging. So IBM acquired Dux to make use of some capabilities that Dux possessed. So this is kind of like what we have seen in acquiring new technology, but it doesn't really have to be a technology. It could be, like I said, a patent or a trademark or anything that arises out of the years of expertise and knowledge by created by one company, and the acquiring company will have access to all these new trademarks and patents once they sign the acquisition. So entry into new markets. Merging helps companies to enter into new markets and establish its business without having to start from scratch or facing competition. I think we have seen this also previously. So merging of companies has one form, that is increasing profitability. It's one of the other thing is that uh, if one company has an established market in one place and it wants to expand its capabilities to other new market, one thing they can do is to gain money or borrow money from the owners or institutional investors, and then use that money to build from scratch another division of the same company in a new location. But that will only result in increased amount of time being utilized for creating that company and establishing a new company in areas that the original company doesn't have an expertise or experience on. So to avoid this from happening, a company could buy out a company from a different location. So for example, Orange, Hutch and Vodafone, each of them have had established customers in each of the locations that they were operating, but to combine the operational efficiency of these three providers, service providers, or internet service providers and call service providers, they have chosen to merge all of these companies, thereby increasing the area of the market, which results in obviously a bigger organization with large amount of clients. So access to funds is another form of reason for doing mergers and acquisitions for companies. So if a company is faced with shortage of funds, it could merge with a firm that has it plenty. So companies come across this problem a lot in their useful lifetime, which is that a company needs funds for all kinds of business activities. A company would need a fund to establish a new unit, to go to a new locate to start a business in a new location, or to introduce new products, so on and so forth. So even if they want to promote their products that is already being sold, or if they want to increase their sales, they need funds to make that happen. So if a company is in lack of funds, they can borrow it, but not every company has the capabilities to borrow it, or they have the credit limit up to that extent. So in that case, a company could merge with a company that does not have enough funds could merge with a company that has plenty of funds. So Tamil Nadu Dada Pharmaceuticals merged with Sun Pharma because they didn't have enough funds to introduce new products. So like I said, the first pharma company does not have enough funds to introduce new products, even though they are an established firm. But Sun Pharma is one of the biggest pharmaceutical company in the whole world, so they have had enough funds to make the former company's dream come true, which is to introduce new products. So as a result, these two companies have merged, which resulted in both of their dream come true. So that is a mutual benefit that is arising out of mergers and acquisitions. Next one is tax benefits. So if one company has profit and another company is suffering losses, after they merge, the losses can be set off against the profit for current and upcoming years, therefore reducing tax liabilities. So this is one of the financial synergy. Financial synergy refers to reducing in tax liabilities also. So if one company, let us say if there are two companies being merged, Vodafone and Idea, and Idea has huge losses in the previous years, and Vodafone is has huge amount of profits, and had to and they have been earning a lot of profits, uh, past and present. So it will keep gaining more and more profits in the upcoming years, and the 30% of all the profit they will gain will be going to taxes. To So if they are earning, let us say, 100 crore revenue, and they need to pay 30 crore as taxes per year. So to avoid that amount of liability, Idea could merge with Vodafone, which will result in the Idea setting off their sorry Vodafone setting off their profits against the losses that is made by the Idea. So year after year, Vodafone could set off the profits that against the Idea's losses, so thereby reducing the tax liability for Vodafone. That saves about 30 crores per annum. So that kind of efficiency is achieved through mergers and acquisitions. So next is, what are the drawbacks? What are the reasons that the mergers and acquisitions fail? So far, we have seen the importance and advantages of mergers and acquisitions. Now we are seeing what could be the disadvantages and the reasons for unsuccessful mergers that happens. First one they have given is unrealistic price being paid for the target company. So any acquiring company has to pay some amount of price for acquiring the target company, and in most cases that price will be more than the net realizable value or the net asset value of the target company. So we have seen before that every company that needs to that wants to indulge in merger or acquisition has to go through a process called valuation. So valuation means valuing the the total assets and liabilities of the company to find out how much they are worth in monetary terms. So after finding out their worth, the acquiring company will pay some amount of money that is more than the worth of the target company. So only the target company will be uh, happy to sell the company, because they have been bought for some amount that is more than what they are worth for. So in some cases, the buying company makes a mistake of paying too much than the target company is worth. So in that cases, the purchasing company realizes a loss because they have just paid more something that's not worth it. So that is one of the reasons for unsuccess attempt of merging. And the next is difficulty in cultural integration. This happens when two companies from different areas, different parts of the world merge together. For example, the working capacity and working style of companies in the Western countries highly differ from the companies in Eastern countries. So Western countries would refer to United States, Canada, Mexico, and the European countries, and the Eastern countries refer to China, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, and India also. So these both the countries in these areas, their styles differ so much. So if a merging happens and these companies were forced to work together, there will be some difficulties in them arising due to the difference in culture. So the merging should address all these differences, and if they do not address these differences, that will end in the failure of the merging. Next one is overstatement of synergies. So we know what is a synergy. Synergy means the advantage that is acquired through merging or acquisition. But in some cases, to make the merging happen, companies tend to overstate the synergies that would arise out of the merging. So that overstatement results in over expectation of the merging. So that could result in failure of merging. So next one is integration difficulties. Integration refers to adoption of the working environment between two companies. So it's not only working environment, it is working style, the technology they use, so on and so forth. So like I said before, if you merge two different companies from two different parts of the world, it is hard to integrate the two companies together and make the employees work together. So any difficulty that arises out of this kind of merging, this kind of integration has to be addressed by the uh, owners of the companies. Yeah, failure to do so will result in the failure of the merging. Next one is poor business fit. So merging and acquisitions also fail when the products and services of the merging entity do not naturally fit according to the acquirer's plan. So in the types of merger, we have seen that the merging company who wants to, the purchasing company who wants to take advantage of the products that are being sold by the purchased company or the target company will do so because their products are in sync, or they manufacture similar products, or they manufacture products whose finished product is the same, so on and so forth. So in some cases there happens an unfortunate circumstances where the products of the two different entities do not actually mix together, and if there are a lot of differences and a lot of differences in customers, both customers and suppliers, then the whole point of merging becomes unreasonable. So that scenario leaves the merging nothing but a failure. Next one, inadequate due diligence. We have seen due diligence before. Due diligence is a report that is created to address the risk that occurs because of the merging or acquisition. So if the due diligence report must be 100% accurate, or at least 90% if not 100%. So they need to address and identify and clarify all the risks that could arise out of the merger. So if the purchasing company or the target company fails to see any of these risks that could arise out of the merging, it will affect the both of the companies at a later time. So that is called inadequate due diligence. So if any of the companies are a risky business, and let's say if the target company is a risky business who would eventually become insolvent at some point, and the purchasing company did not see that coming, then it will result in failure of both of the companies in the future. So high leverage is the same as paying too much for the target company, but the thing is that if you pay it with the own money that the resource that is available for the company in its resources, then it's all right. But if the purchasing company plans to get a loan from external financiers like institutional investors, creditors, debenture holders, so on and so forth, if the purchasing company takes loans from external people and they uses that cash to purchase the new company, the target company, then it increases its credit liability, which increases the interest that needs to be paid year on year basis. So paying so much amount of interest will result in reduced profit, which leaves the owners of the business with reduced bonuses. Therefore, the owners will feel like the merging has happened. Uh, the merging was actually loss to them instead of being a profit. So companies need to take care of the leveraging activity before purchasing a target company. Boardroom split is kind of like the same as difficulty in cultural integrity. So if there are personality issues between the board members from the different countries after they merge together, it's called a boardroom split. Boardroom split often happens not only in merger companies, but also in between subsidiaries and holding companies, or even between the same companies different departments also. Boardroom split means when the managers or the directors of the same company has different views or opinions on most of the decisions that they are making, and they couldn't find a common ground. It's called boardroom split. Boardroom split mostly happens in lot of merged companies. So if the companies fail to find middle ground between the two different managerial people, then it will be called an unsuccessful merger. Regulatory issues. So the process of merger requires legal approval depending on the location of the companies. If the stakeholders, which means the customers or the governments or the lenders, are not in favor of the merger, if they don't support the merger, they might create legal issues. They might create legal barriers which will slow down the merging process and eventually kill the merging process in the future. So we need to make sure, every company needs to make sure that the merger is in favor for all of the stake people or the interested parties concerned. Human resource issues. This is also one of the most important problem that arises in merged companies. Mergers might result in job losses. Yeah, once you increase the efficiency of the company to decrease the cost that has been happening, the merging companies will normally find a way to reduce the cost by cutting off the employees. So this results in anxiety among the employees and uncertainty about their job, insecurity about their job. So this creates kind of resentment among one employee to another, and one employee to the management, so on and so forth. So this creates a hindrance in growth of the organization. Sometimes this goes too bad that both of the so employees from both of the companies will stop working for the companies, and the whole process will just end in disaster for both of the companies. So the companies need to address these issues.